Thank you for all the love. But let's get to today's subject and find out what's really going on. What does Quinton say? This cycle is different. There was no euphoria or fear of missing out, FOMO, just an organized bid from institutions. I agree with that. Because, we usually see it more on the shopping side of things. It is common to see the euphoria move. And when it comes to shopping, well, it's just totally different. This time, smart money is coming in. Check out Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP. The list goes on, but that doesn't mean we won't have an altcoin season or strong moves in the market as a whole. But from what we saw in 2017, even 2021, things have evolved since then. A lot of people forget that, you know. But I want to tell you guys again that those were different times because the market was still very cheap. Once more, crypto wasn't really taken up. Not many rules were put in place to protect the crypto business. That's no longer the case. If you look at the crypto space as a whole right now, you should know that it has been a bloodbath over the last 24 hours. That's not good, but Bitcoin is all over the place. We've been talking about this a lot these days. Also, just so you know, Bitcoin is still not safe. That means that XRP was worth $2.76 as of Friday morning. As was already said, it's down about 3% in USD and 1% in Bitcoin. Compared to that, the market value is $165.25 billion, and the trade volume in 24 hours is $9 billion. Just a quick note to say that nothing on this channel is meant to be taken as financial advice. As with any investment, you should always do your own study before putting money into crypto. Let's look at the fear and greed measure. As it stands, we're at 44 right now, which is the fear zone. Once more, are we shocked? I think we're even worse off. Because of what happened with the crypto markets not long ago, I think we're even more in the fear zone right now. But some people see this as a good thing because it means more people will be around for a long time. They want a dollar cost average because they have done their study and are certain of what they want. Remember the old proverb, be greedy when other people are afraid, be afraid when other people are greedy. And when things are unclear, people who save money tend to do well in the long run. It also lowers your average dollar cost price. But look at this. Kraken Races is worth $500 million to $15 billion ahead of a possible IPO. A lot of companies are going through an IPO because they know the chance and potential they have right now, as well as the buzz surrounding crypto companies and IPOs. In light of this, I am not surprised that Kraken may decide to go through with an IPO. It makes sense since many of their rivals are up there. The Kraken market is by far one of the biggest in the world, so they might do pretty well. Also, this just helps us understand what will happen when Ripple goes public. And this isn't just something we made up. This has already been talked about. You should know that the CEO has said this before. Of course, there is nothing in the schedule for the year 2025. As I already said, they're planning ahead. They're not just going to, come out with ETFs that might go live this year and then go IPO right after. It doesn't work that way. They're doing some big things. The Hidden Road accusation, and they're making some big moves right now. They really want to be a part of the regulatory clarity coming to the crypto industry and help lawmakers understand what crypto is all about. I think that's what they're more focused on right now. But again, this gives us a better idea of what to expect when Ripple goes public. But take a look at this list of the 10 biggest ETF issuers. Vance met with the SEC's crypto task force today to look over the agenda and talk about how to adopt tokenization of ETFs and what the role of the issuers is. Wish you would pay attention. I agree with what Nate Garcia said. Also related, another crypto index, ETP, is now live on NASDAQ after passing the new generic listing standards. This means investors can now access XRP, Solana, and XLM along with Bitcoin and Ethereum. You can already get attention if that's what you want. Of course, this is just an index. There is no direct link between you and XRP, Solana, or Bitcoin. This is like a list. Of course, it's made up of these 5 things that we just talked about. Again, though, we need to pay close attention to this because it helps us understand the October date. In October, could there be an ETF? A lot of people are looking forward to that. Please tell me in the comments. Did you think that an ETF would go live, or do you think it will be put off until next month? But there is a lot to talk about, and don't forget that the first part of the On-Chain Economy series by Joel Katz answers the question of whether institutional adoption and decentralization can work together. He says that they can, and that neutrality is the key. He talks about how tokenized assets and on-chain credit are connecting trade and DeFi, and how the XRPO system is the best way to support this change. And this is what we've been talking about. Remember that it's that one-stop shop for businesses that want to tokenize their assets. Don't forget that XRP Ledger is that one-stop shop. As I said before, it would be a good place to, tokenize. Also, DBS, Franklin Templeton, and Ripple are working together to help qualified and institutional investors trade and borrow money. Tokenized money market funds on the XRP Ledger, blockchain, and stablecoins like RLUSD are used in these systems. There's big stuff going on. We should check out what's going on with the prices of Bitcoin and XRP though. Since it's currently holding about 59% of the market, the rise in power shouldn't come as much of a surprise given what's happening with BTC. Bitcoin is going to reach 109,600, so please pay close attention. You can see that we're still not out of the woods, even though there is a little bit of a bounce. We might also be able to test the 23.6 key support line again, based on the numbers we're at, That's something I want you to remember. As for the price of XRP, it's still sitting around where it was yesterday. This range has been holding together pretty well. That being said, we're still below the 23.6 fib zone, which you all know I don't like seeing. But XRP has held its ground pretty well overall. Obviously, I talked about this in my last update. $2.58 could be the next goal to shoot for if the price of Bitcoin doesn't stay around these important levels. Still, the price of XRP has stayed above 270, which is good to see. We need to take things one step at a time. Don't forget that we were testing again almost $3 only 24 hours ago. But the market as a whole is all over the place right now, mostly because of Bitcoin.